Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. So I'm going to go ahead and warn you guys. I didn't get home until like 1:30 a.m. last night from the Tucker Carlson tour. And I should have had an energy drink before I came on here, but it's okay because I am joined today by my best friend, America's favorite cowboy, Chad Prather, of course, Blaze TV contributor and host of the Chad Prather Show, who I have to share with you guys that this guy literally waits until we're already on air. I'm speaking and he's still on his phone like this.
I'm still on it right now.
Checking his messages.
Busy.
It's fine. We're just taping a show, Chad. I don't know. Could I trouble you for 48 minutes of your time?
The name of the show is Sara Gonzales Unfiltered.
Easy for you to say.
Unfiltered.
Okay.
I have had an energy drink. And unlike you, I went to bed at 11 p.m. I was awake at 2.
I was going to say, I was texting you.
Because you texted me at like 1:45 and we're like, I'm just leaving. And I'm like, where have you been?
It's usually the opposite.
It is usually the opposite. But I was like, okay, I'm intrigued with.
Yeah.
And then you started name dropping of all the people you were hanging with. And I was like, it's cool to be Sara sometimes.
Sometimes.
I don't get invited to anything anymore.
You were busy, so whatever. By the way, I believe you can catch both of us on Normal World tonight.
Okay.
Right here on Blaze TV.
You could definitely catch me. Are you on it?
They invited me. Can I come?
All right. That should get more coverage than an assassination attempt.
Well, speaking of that, thanks, Chad.
How you like that segue?
Great segue. Thanks. Maybe they should call this Chad Prather Unfiltered.
Like a pro.
So let's talk about that. So Donald Trump says that he was briefed about real and specific threats from Iran. He tweeted this out. He said, big threats on my life by Iran. The entire U.S. military is watching and waiting. Moves were already made by, I really wish that I could do a Trump impression because I would use it every time I read these. Were already made by Iran that didn't work out, but they will try again. Not a good situation for anyone. I am surrounded by more men, guns, and weapons than I have ever seen before. Thank you to Congress for unanimously approving far more money to Secret Service. 0 no votes, strictly bipartisan. Nice to see the Republican and Democrats get together on something. An attack on a former president is a death wish for the attacker. Now, I just want to ask you, Chad. I read this, and being that I'm so cynical about the federal government's involvement, I believe involvement in previous assassination attempts on Donald Trump.
I like how you tiptoed into that sentence right there.
Got to be careful.
You do.
Given that I do believe that they were somehow a part of it, at bare minimum, they do want him dead. I'm like, do we trust the people briefing him on this matter to tell him the truth? Do we trust that they're not like cooking the books to blame something on Iran that they intend to do? But again, that's just if I were a conspiracy theorist.
No, and you are, as am I. I have no doubt that Iran wants Donald Trump dead. I think there's a vendetta there for what he did to General Soleimani when he turned him into, hamburger meat on a tarmac. But I don't believe that post. Like, I think that's Trump being Trump. I think that's Trump playing the chess. And I think that, okay, so maybe they did approve of more security measures or an increase of budgetary measures when it comes to the Secret Service. I don't believe Trump is surrounded by more guns than he's ever seen before. I think that is just kind of a way to ward off those who might potentially attack him. I mean, you always want to say, look, if you want to come after me, I'm not traveling light and I'm not traveling alone, so the risk is on you. But I sort of also think that he's continually patting the kind of petting and patting the Secret Service to somewhat let them believe he's on their side, regardless of what he truly believes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you'd have to. You can't be like, hey, guys who are assigned to, make sure I don't die. I don't believe in you. I think you suck. I mean, you can't say that.
Well, it's a Godfather principle. You want to keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah.
So I think Trump understands that. As a New Yorker, I think he understands it maybe more than anybody does, of just the mindset that Trump has had, because that's how Trump became Trump.
Right.
He knows how to play people. He knows how to work the deal. He literally wrote a book on it and made an art form out of it.
Yeah.
So that's just Trump being Trump.
Well, so at the same time that he is announcing that there are real incredible threats on his life, which, yeah, we know.
Of course there are.
Yeah, we know. Every day there's another person who comes forward threatening to shoot him. There was a guy. Did you see the guy from yesterday? Mm-mm. It didn't get a lot of traction, but there was some guy that they arrested from like Idaho or something. I don't know. He looked like he was inbred, and he went on social media and was like, I'm going to kill Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. And they arrested him.
Okay. Yeah, I did see that guy, but I was confused on who that was. Because I thought that was somebody else that was doing that. I thought that was in connection with the Crooks kid.
No, this is another one.
This is another guy. Now, let me clarify my earlier statement and say that I hope that he's surrounded by more guns and guns he can trust.
Sure.
And just being surrounded by guns isn't enough, because we saw what little Dumpling did when she couldn't get her gun back in her holster at the first assassination attempt. She had a gun, but it didn't look very effective
Melissa
to me.
McCarthy?
Yeah. So, and then you had a Secret Service agent the other day who, in a mishap, shot themselves. So this is a comedy of errors at this point. I don't trust any of them. I wish he had private security. I know that there's a lot of special ops veterans that are retired that would love nothing more than to secure his perimeter. That sounds like a sexual innuendo, but I'm just saying, girl, I'm ready to secure your perimeter. I got to remember that one.
So
anyway,
yeah. Well, to your point,
I forgot what I was saying. I got a little hot and bothered right there.
At the same time that we're, hearing about more threats on Donald Trump's life, we're getting this report from the Senate on the massive failures of the Secret Service. And so what they found in the Senate, they had the 12 key points where there was just complete and total failure, where the Secret Service should have acted and somehow inexplicably didn't. They said, 27 minutes before the shooting, Secret Service notified of a suspicious person with a rangefinder around the AGR building. That in and of itself, I'm no security expert, okay, but I almost think that makes what I'm about to say more relevant. I'm no security expert, and even I know that if you are tasked with guarding arguably one of the most important people in the entire world, and you hear that there is someone with a rangefinder near a building where they could get a clean shot on Donald Trump, do you let him even take the stage?
All right. No. And I will say this, I'm no security, specialist either in regards to that, but I will tell you, if things remain status quo, it's a matter of time before Donald Trump gets seriously shot, injured, killed, because there's nothing, obviously, that's truly protecting him from these wackos. And we're not dealing, you can look at these people and tell they're not the brightest bulbs. I don't know, like this Routh guy, however you say his name, there's a whole lot more to that story. There's a ton more. And then the DOJ puts the letter out whenever that was written with a bounty on Trump's head. I mean,
right.
These people are way too close. So if the status quo doesn't change, it's just a matter of time before something very tragic happens. And then it launches us into a whole other scenario that's going to be horrible.
Well, let me give you some other very strange incompetencies, if that's what you'd like to call them. Secret Service were notified of a person on the freaking roof 2 minutes before he actually fired. Okay. At that point, do you think maybe you could take the guy off the stage? What is the point of you being there? The point of you being there is to react in real time to any sort of credible threats. You've already heard that there's a guy on the building 2 minutes before he fires. You still don't take him off the stage. Okay. Shortly before shots were fired, Secret Service, the rooftop counter snipers saw local law enforcement running towards that building with their guns drawn, and he still did not alert the president's detail to remove him from the stage. I mean, it just, again, no security expert. I don't consider myself to be the brightest bulb in the box. Even I read this and I'm like, how the hell do you miss all of these things? How in the hell do you miss all of these things? So you read these, they were on a separate channel. Their radio was on a separate channel than local law enforcement. Typically, they're all supposed to be sharing something so that they can all talk in real time together. Because again, what the hell is the point of being there to react in real time if you're not doing that? You had local law enforcement who was concerned about the security of the building. Secret Service said, yeah, we got it. And then blew them off. And then, of course, you have the drone. So we asked questions about the drone because we know that Thomas Crooks flew the drone over that particular area hours before the rally. And we also know that Secret Service was offered a drone that had neutralizing capabilities by local law enforcement. They said, here, you can just use this. And they were like, no, pass. We don't need it. It's fine. Well, apparently their drone system, they had a drone system. It just experienced technical problems. It was inoperable at the time. And so the agent that was responsible for it. Now, I mean, it was a drone operator with only 3 months of experience with the equipment to begin with. So they thought that they might call the toll-free 888 number for tech support.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding.
Is that really in the story? Oh, my God.
I shouldn't be laughing. It's so stupid. Like,
That's really part of the story. This is why I watched this show right here to find out this guy.
Press 1 if you'd like to continue in English. Press 2 para español.
I'm looking at the story on the screen over here. They really called it the 800 tech support
really
number,
did that.
the hotline.
They really did that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at just how massive these failures are. And again, I keep going back to this. It really is hard to say how much of this is just a sinister plot to kill Donald Trump because he is the only one standing in the way of them and all of their deep state agenda for all of this globalism. But number two, they are employing DEI at very alarming rates. Yeah. And they do seem to be employing very stupid people. They're trying to promote women within the Secret Service, which, you know, they have no business being part of a security detail for how tall is Donald Trump? 6'4", 6'3"?
6'3".
If you can't wrestle a giant man with a gun and you can't be trusted to be able to overcome him with your power, you have no business being in the Secret Service. But that's a whole nother tangent that I could go on.
Sure.
That I'll save. But like it's hard to say how much of this is incompetency and how much of this is sinister because, I mean, I do believe that they are very incompetent.
They are incompetent, but there's also a nefarious plot, okay? There's something that's going on there. Look, all you have to do is just something that they are talking about right now, and that is the P. Diddy thing and all the stuff that's been covered up for all these years. I mean, you know, I was on the phone with somebody, and I'm not going to name names, somebody you know, but somebody who's in the know in the world of like trafficking and things like this. And he's like, you know, these deep state people, they control 90% of the world's wealth, right? They are the ones who are in control. They could 86 you in a heartbeat, like, and just boom, you're just gone. They'll ruin your life at the minimum, but they'll kill you and they'll kill your family. And they've got a whole story backed up on how to get rid of you. So if these types of evil people are out there truly controlling the world, there's no doubt that a guy. I had Dinesh D'Souza on my show last night. People can go back and watch the Chad Prather shows. It was very telling because he's got his new movie coming out called Vindicating Trump, which is something, I think it's a story that needs to be told. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I thought was profound that Dinesh brought up is he said the thing about Trump is he became a traitor to his class. The people that made him what he was as a celebrity, he became a traitor to them. When he came down the escalator, it was very symbolic coming down the escalator away from them down to the level of the common man. And they hate him for that. They look at him as a traitor. He's treacherous. That's why Hollywood and all the people have sold him out. They call him evil. They loved him, right? Mm-hmm. But now it is what it is. So they want him off the scene. And the government wants him off the scene. They all, because they're all in the same swampy, soupy, nasty, toxic, trashy stew. I mean, it's just horrible. And so they want him off the scene. And so Dinesh said the profound thing about Trump is he has courage. He has bravery. It's not that he doesn't have fear. It's not that he's apathetic, but he has courage in spite of all of it. And that's what sets him apart. And that ultimately, that type of bravery is what pisses them off even more.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's go ahead and take a quick break. And then when we come back, speaking of the deep state and their globalist plot, let's talk about another man who is sounding the alarm on that and paying dearly for it, Alex Jones. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Relief Factor. So, Chad, do you live in pain?
I do, actually.
I'm not talking about me being a pain in your ass.
No, I love you and you're lovely. I have a torn labrum in my shoulder.
Okay.
It sounds kinkier than it is. And I promise you, the Relief Factor, we just had this conversation with someone at dinner last night. It makes all the difference in the world for me.
I need to get you some while you're here.
I need a new thing because you know why? Because my brother, it helps him, and so I send my packages to my brother.
Oh,
because I'm altruistic, I'm giving, I'm generous.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some before you leave here today. I've got some.
more.
Yeah. I've got some. So if you guys are whatever the pain may be in your body, knee pain, neck pain, back pain, whatever it is, most likely the root cause of it is the inflammation in your body. So if you can get rid of the root cause of your pain, imagine how life-changing that would be. So it's worked for Chad, it's worked for me, it's worked for so many people here at the Blaze, and apparently Chad's brother as well. So make sure that you go to their website, order their 3-week quick start pack. 70% of the people who order that keep on ordering more. That's how many people it's working for. So the odds are in your favor. It's going to work for you. They have a guarantee. So you've got literally nothing to lose except your pain over at relieffactor.com. That is relieffactor.com. So yesterday, a U.S. bankruptcy court indicated it would be signing off on an order approving the forced sale of InfoWars, of course, Alex Jones' media company, with its assets to be sold off piece by piece. Now, just as like a refresher here, so Alex and his company both filed for bankruptcy protection in 2022 after he was sued by the Sandy Hook families, who... One, it's tough for me to even say out loud, even though we've talked about it before. $1.5 billion, nearly $1.5 billion in defamation and emotional distress lawsuits against Alex Jones. Now, of course, they say, well, he said that Sandy Hook was a hoax, and therefore you deserve $1.5 billion over free speech. Don't agree with that. They also say that they were being harassed and threatened by Alex Jones followers. You heard me, Chad, right? Followers, not Alex Jones, not Alex Jones. People who listened to him, this is what they claim, and that some followers confronted the families in person, and that was very traumatic for them. Now, I want to be very clear here. Two things can be true at once. Before we talk about this, two things can be true at once. I cannot imagine the horrific pain that you would feel losing a child in such a traumatic way. And I cannot imagine the pain that you would feel hearing people talk about it in a way that makes it worse for you. That also doesn't change the fact that we are supposed to have freedom of speech in this country. And when you have outlets like CNN and MSNBC and all of these blowhards in legacy media who sit there and lie to the American people for 8 hours a day, I have a big problem with now the judicial system weaponizing itself against Alex Jones. And now, once this auction takes place, November 15th, I believe it is, he will no longer be able to own or control the company that he built. That is a grave injustice.
It is.
That is, I mean, this is criminal what the United States government is doing to Alex Jones. And it's all to prove a point to you.
Yeah.
That's it.
It doesn't matter what he said. It doesn't matter how he said it. It doesn't matter that he said it. I understand it hurt your feelings. It caused trauma. It added more to it. Okay, this is lawfare. 100% against Alex Jones. This is a way to silence Alex. Let's go back to the previous segment talking about the cabal that controls everything. It is a deep state, folks. And let me tell you, they are in control.
And he's the one who has called that out for years and years and years. And they don't like that.
He's been right on the assassination attempts. He's been right on 9/11. He's been right on a lot of things. And anybody it doesn't matter if you like him or not. It doesn't matter if you agree with him or think he's full of hot air. Let me tell you, he could be full of a lot of hot air. But the government's attempt to try to pretend that they care about kids. There's 310,000 missing trafficked children that came across the southern border. They don't know where they are right now. You look at the various trafficking things that are out there, all the way to God, I mean, I could list time after time, all of these things that are affecting children in this country.
Well, how about all of the babies who are being aborted every year?
Don't tell me that you care about the lives of children because this guy chose to speculate in a conspiracy theory about what happened in Newtown, Connecticut. And they're coming after him with something they knew there was no possible way for him to pay.
Correct.
There was no possible way. So the only thing they can do is completely try to shut him down and silence him. Now, think about Alex Jones. You and I know Alex well enough to know, and everybody else that does and knows about Alex, you're not going to shut the guy up. I mean, it would literally take a death sentence to shut Alex up. And even then, it's like stamping out a fire. The sparks are going to go out and it's going to create a bigger fire. You can't put out Alex Jones at this point.
So I want to play, case in point here, I want to play a clip from Alex Jones. I mentioned I was at the Tucker event here in the DFW area.
Keep dropping that, ain't you?
I mean, it's no big deal. I just, we spoke.
He kissed your hand, didn't he?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that.
Did you curtsy like royalty?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that. No, but so Alex actually joined Tucker. I believe this was in Reading, Pennsylvania, the night or two before we saw him. And he's, to your point, he's speaking about that very thing. He's like, you think that I'm just going to go away? That's just going to make me stronger in many cases. Watch.
Of course, this is all deliberate. The CIA in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s funded Ms. Magazine, Gloria Steinem, Planned Parenthood. The whole thing is run by the globalists against our country since the 47 National Security Act. And they said in there, we're going to have ugly architecture, ugly art, ugly music. We're going to degrade the family. We're going to undermine the symbol of men being strong in the home. This is all declassified. And they sold that image to demoralize us and break our will. And we were asleep back then and didn't know the government had been hijacked. They thought Americans were intimidated and bullied and weak. No, we were asleep. Now they try to debilitate us. Now they try to demoralize us. Now they try to break our will. And we're conscious of it. And we're like, that's not breaking our will. That's waking us up.
It's so true. I love it.
I want to just pull my shirt off and run around here naked.
You've done it before on my last set. Eventually, you're going to need to do it on this one, too. Just to...
It's a giant comms. They're coming for you. It's going to wake us up. You got to jump out the fire. It's going to go everywhere.
That's the thing is like, he says it, and it sounds crazy. It is crazy, but it's also true.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
Yes. Listen, those of you who maybe you're the average listener or the viewer of a show like this, and you're like, Sarah's full of it. She's crazy. She's floating these kind of things out there. Walk a mile in Sarah's shoes. And that's light compared to Alex Jones.
Yeah, sure.
But walk a mile exposed to the things that you're exposed to, the messages you get, the things that you see, that you're privy to, things that you simply can't talk about. And there's a lot of people out here who watch The Blaze. You know it's true because you're in tune with what's going on. There's some dirty, dirty things that are out there. You tell me that they don't want to crush the will of the typical American spirit who believes in freedom and liberty and wants to be left alone. No, they do not want to leave you alone. Absolutely not. They don't want to leave you alone, and they're not going to ever let a guy like Alex Jones will live the rest of his life persecuted in some form or fashion. But what they haven't learned, go back to first century Christianity. You can crucify a guy and murder all of his followers, and guess what? It just spreads like wildfire.
Right.
That's the nature of why cancel culture doesn't work. You try to cancel somebody else. Ask Joe Rogan, ask Morgan Wallen. They get bigger and bigger and bigger the more you try to cancel them out. So they don't learn from this. Mm-hmm. They don't learn from this. The biggest thing they could have done is just let it go.
Right.
The best thing for them they could have done is just let it go. But now a guy like Alex Jones, he's got a vendetta. He's pissed off.
Well, I mean, it's like
vengeance there.
It's people like Elon Musk who are also poking holes in their plan because now that Elon Musk has bought the platform formerly known as Twitter, Alex Jones will always have a platform. I was listening to his live stream earlier, and I was listening with like 55,000 other people. And that was just during the live stream. And that was like at a low point.
You know why Johnny Cash became a big deal, an icon in country music? It was because he was married to June Carter. The Carter family, you know what happened during the Depression? They went down to Mexico where there were no regulations on how far the radio bandwidth could go, because these radio bandwidths, so you could send them all the way across the country, but the FCC regulates all of that stuff. So they went down to Mexico and would sing on the radio, and where there was no regulations on the radio bandwidth, and they would send those signals all the way to Canada from Mexico. So the Carter family became a household name during the Great Depression because they went to a place where the regulations were taken off. You take a guy like an Alex Jones, who you're gonna throttle him try to throttle him, he's only going to find another place that's going to be bigger with a broader reach, and it's going to increase his platform. All you're doing is amplifying him at this point. There are people out there who had no clue who a Joe Rogan was, had no clue who an Alex Jones, had no clue really who Elon Musk was. He was just the electric car guy, right? Elon Musk is more relevant now today than ever before in his career. I mean, he amassed billions upon billions of dollars, became the richest guy on the planet, but people were still, he wasn't a household name. He is now.
Right.
He is now because they came after him. Even Joe Biden in a press conference the other day just said, there's a lot of ways we can come after him. Talking about Elon Musk. Right. When you got the president of the United States saying we're going to come after a guy for doing what? Allowing free speech?
Yes, because it's poking a hole in their plan to shut us down,
Donald
to
Trump
silence
did the same thing.
Donald Trump, same thing. It's their plan to label everything that you say, everything that you say, everything that I say, everything that Alex Jones says, everything that Glenn Beck says. You name the person in conservative media, they want to label you as misinformation so that they can then shut you down. And Elon Musk poked a great hole in that plan and that strategy to do so. So they're going to come after him.
You became a boss lady, even bigger than you are, when Elon took over, and you did that 2 days of testing. Let's see if I can get kicked off of this platform. And you just rapid fire. What'd you do? Like 300 tweets?
Yeah, I think so.
Like one after another?
Yeah.
Men can't be women. Women can't be men.
All the things that would have gotten you.
Men can't have a baby.
And
the 2020 election was rigged. There's no way Joe Biden got 81 million votes. I mean, you just went, bam, rapid fire. And it's like, okay. Shine, queen.
You know what's so funny? The executives here were like, well,
I was holding my breath.
This is really risky, but we'll see if it works. And then afterwards, they were
real
like,
women don't have balls, but Sarah's got something very akin to them. Okay.
Afterwards, they were like, hey, you gained about 100,000 new followers overnight. Why don't you tell them about your show?
I think if I remember right, you gained 137,000 in almost 48 hours.
And I regret nothing, just so we're clear.
Nothing. Follow me at Watch Chad.
Yeah, there you go. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back with more. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Mobile here. Chad knows the guys over at Patriot Mobile.
Love them. Glenn's awesome.
Glenn Story is one of my favorite people in the entire world. Yep. He is just the greatest patriot. He's fun. He's funny. He's smart. And he believes what we believe, which is you shouldn't be giving your money to companies that hate you. It seems so simplistic. It's like, well, yeah, you shouldn't even have to say that. Well, here's the thing. Big mobile companies, they do hate you, and they're taking a portion of your money and using it to fund left-wing causes that you are probably, if you're watching the show, fighting against. Patriot Mobile is going to do the opposite, okay? They stand with you on free speech, on American values, on the Constitution, and they are going to take a portion of your bill and donate it to causes that you are fighting for, not against. And you also are going to get the same nationwide coverage that you have with any of the other big three tech companies, mobile companies. So go check them out. It's likely that they're probably going to save you money as well. Same service. Same phone number, or you can mix those up if you'd like. That's fine. It's up to you. And plus, you have the option of perhaps saving money. Go there, patriotmobile.com/Sarah. You can get free activation by using the offer code Sarah. That is patriotmobile.com/Sarah. So, Chad, I'm sure that you've been keeping up with the illegal immigration crisis.
Not me.
The invasion, the Venezuelan gangs showing up in apartment complexes in places like Aurora and Chicago, and armed with rifles. ARs.
It's all a hoax.
That's because that's what we're told, right? It's a hoax.
I live in a sweet little bubble, a little utopian thing.
It's just a hoax.
It's kind of got a rainbow aura to it, and I live in there, and we ride unicorns to work, and
that's a right-wing conspiracy theory. Oh, okay.
Well, it's just that the city of New York and NYPD, the sanctuary city of New York, they're now saying that the Venezuelan gang is, of course, established. They've established a massive operation within the city. I mean, but it's just a hoax. Except that NYPD is now confirming that that's happening. So turns out having a sanctuary city is just a giant neon sign saying Venezuelan gangs, please move here.
Well, and the thing is, there's no rule of law in these cities. They let them get away with whatever they want to do.
Right.
Like, I'll tell you this, when I was in school and I was on a baseball team, if you messed with one of our guys, we all came after you. Like, if the U.S. government really cared about our country and the country being exceptional, they would just say, you know what, let's just let the U.S. citizens handle it.
Right.
But see, this whole civil liberties bullshit. They would just say, you know what, just let the U.S. citizenry, we don't have to deploy the military or the National Guard or whatever, just some good old-fashioned American vigilantism.
The red states could handle that for you guys real quick.
Just let us, like, there's a reason we have all this shit in the closet. Like, we'll fix this, okay? Just let it go.
So,
just turn, look the other way.
Yeah.
For 48 hours.
It might not feel very warm and fuzzy, but trust me when I tell you, it will take care of the problem. Okay?
Cheaply.
Exactly.
And then, tomorrow morning, what you do is you just get up on the building and you hose it off like the kid in Butler, Pennsylvania, or send the street sweepers through. It's like it cleans up overnight. It's like the people at Disney World when the horse pulling the carriage takes a dump on the pavement. Some guy runs out of a bush with a scooper and sweeps it up, and nobody knows that the horse shit. Like, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. We'll fill in some potholes.
Oh, but the left would say, oh, Chad, that's not nice. These are people just in search of a better life. No, they're not.
You know who was in search of a better life? The unborn babies at the DNC when you rolled out an abortion clinic on wheels outside of the convention center. That's who was in search of a better life. Y'all don't give a shit about human life.
No.
These people have no value.
Well, and by the way,
life. They have none.
None. And by the way, I mean, I would also point out, even if you could use that argument, it's like, well, you're an American, so maybe care about Americans' lives first.
Yeah.
And now you're making us less safe. Why don't you ask the family of Lake and Riley how they feel about allowing all of these violent criminals into our country? How about the fact that this gang apparently has been smuggling guns into the homeless shelters in food cartons? You think those are just people in search of a better life? They just want to come here with just a backpack on their back and a dream of American opportunity? Really? They've been committing retail theft, extortion, robbery, human trafficking. Oh, and they've also shot 2 NYPD officers. They're just here in search of a better life. They're just not. They're bad people, and they should be gone.
There's a reason they left their country, first of all.
Right.
And I've been to these countries. I have been to these countries, and I can tell you that the way they look at street justice and taking things and how they look at weaponry like firearms and guns and things like that, machetes. They look at it very differently than the docile, flaccid, limp-wristed American does that's scared to do anything. Because if an intruder breaks into your house and you shoot them, don't call the police because you're going to go to prison. You're going to go to jail for defending, your own property. Bury the body. Don't tell anity. Call 911 and say, there's been an incident.
Life advice from Chad Prather.
Don't call 911 and be like, hey, I shot somebody that came in my house. Just, you know what? Cadaver dogs can smell down to about 12 feet. So get you a backhoe and get you and dig a deep hole.
Like at least 13 feet.
People laugh at this and they get mad at me. And I know the cancel culture comes after me for saying stuff like this, but it's just going to come to that. It really is going to come to that.
It actually is.
Because they're going to come to your town. They're going to come to your street. Because here's the thing. What happens when the government cheese runs out? Because right now they're getting the debit cards and they're getting the shelters and what happens when that runs out? And it will run out. Mm-hmm. What happens if Trump gets elected and Trump says, nope, it's over. Now we're going to do all of these national deportations, and they're scurrying like rats off a ship. And where do you think they're going to go when all of a sudden the honey dries up in the tree? They're going to come for you. They're going to come for your stuff. I mean, they're already squatting. Dinesh D'Souza, I said, he was on my show last night. Go watch the show. He's a neighbor. He lives in a neighborhood right down the road from me. It's a very prosperous neighborhood, one of the most expensive neighborhoods in my area. They have squatters. And you know what the police are telling them? Give them some food and they'll leave in the morning.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Give them some food and they'll leave in the morning.
No, they won't.
No, they'll be back for food tomorrow night.
Freaking food. That's what anyone who's ever fed a stray cat, which you know is me, already knows that. You give them food, they're going to be like, oh, you're going to give me food if I come here. I'm just going to keep coming for food and you'll keep setting it down for me to take.
I had a friend who pastored a church, and one of his ministries was they had a sack of groceries at the back of the church. So if you came to church, you could leave with a sack of groceries. Sounds great till the groceries dry up.
Yeah.
Or because here's the thing. There's a general principle. What you use to bring people in is what you have to use to keep them. Mm. Okay? You become a subscriber of Blaze because, this is going to be good. Daily Wire. Daily Wire comes out with a What is a Woman movie. Everybody subscribes to Daily Wire, and then suddenly they watch it. Now they delete their subscription. Mm-hmm. Now you got to keep making movies to keep bringing people back to keep their subscription. Right. Same with all these other deals. So it's going to happen in America too. What brought them in here? Sanctuary cities, shelters, food, debit cards,
free shit,
free. All of these things. We're going to give you a license. We're going to give you all these rights, all these opportunities. You just live here forever until whatever. We're going to give you education, all these things. You got to keep giving them that because when that government cheese dries up, they're going to come for your shit.
I also think that, to your point, before we have to take a break, there's also, the lack of appetite for that within America right now is just like we're reaching that point. What is it? I saw a poll that it was like 70 or 80% of Americans support mass deportations. Like, we're there. We've hit the threshold. You guys are coming into these rural areas. You've got Springfield, Ohio, who had like a third of their population just dumped in there overnight. You were there.
Anybody?
This isn't a Texas problem anymore. This isn't just a Texas problem. This isn't just a California problem. This isn't just an Arizona problem. This isn't just a border problem. This is a country problem at this point.
It is. Anybody wants to meet me in Minneapolis, we'll take a walk at night downtown, and you'll see what happens when the Clintons and the Obamas dump the nation of Somalia into Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. You'll see what you get. And again, you're like, you're being, no. I'm just telling you, these folks don't think like you think with your overblown sense of security and luxury in this country because you've been on the government tit for so long. You think that the authorities are always going to be there to take care of you, and they are not. Mm-hmm. We've already seen we're living in a nation where with this justice system, you're guilty until proven innocent. So you can't even defend yourself anymore. And I'm just telling you, I've been to these countries. Those people don't process things like you do. That's the difference.
And they don't come here with the intention of changing that.
Not a bit.
That's the problem.
Not a bit.
You've been to Haiti.
Yes, I've been to Haiti. And not only that, in the Miami community of Little Haiti, which is just as bad.
Interesting.
And that goes back 30 years, 35 years ago. It was bad then.
And it's a conspiracy theory that Haitians eat cats, okay?
I can tell you this, wherever there are Haitians, there's going to be somebody feeding the Inwa who is the spiritual God to come give you advice because it is a syncretic Western African mixed with Roman Catholicism religion, voodoo, call it whatever you want to call it. There's going to be blood sacrifice. And you're like, go to Haiti then and find out for yourself. It's literally what they do. That's not hate speech. It's their religion.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I know Haitians. My best friend in college at University of Georgia, Sam Joseph, a little soccer player, a little bodybuilder soccer. But my best friend, he was an immigrant from Haiti.
Did your cats go missing?
He didn't eat a single cat, but I never had a cat. So I avoided that right up front. That's why we could be buds. But I'm telling you, my best friend, my literal very best friend in college was Haitian. Some of the most dearest people I've ever known were Haitian Christians who escaped Haiti, moved to the Little Haiti community of Miami, and were working to evangelize that community because they knew what they were up against. Mm. I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff in West Africa. I've seen some stuff that would freak you out. I've seen some stuff in these countries that would freak you out. You start talking about digging into people's guts and entrails, these kind of sacraments that, yeah.
I didn't.
You're worried about cats? For crying out loud, you're worried about cats? Do you understand what these people do? You're worried about cats? Give them the fucking cats, man. The cats are the least of our worries, folks. The cats, Let them, you know what? Kill the cat. Screw the cats.
No.
The cats are the least of the worries, Sarah.
Okay, all right.
When the Chi-Coms come, you're going to make that, they're going to listen to the Haitians are going to make the Chi-Coms look ridiculously like simple and easy, and it's going to be no problem. But the Haitians are coming for your cats.
That's actually really good. Okay, just for the record, and then we're going to go to break. Save the cats and also save yourselves, okay? Don't kill the cats. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. Tonight, must-miss TV, Kamala Harris will sit down for a one-on-one interview with MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle, which is very interesting to me because they made this announcement literal days after Stephanie Ruhle had been on Real Time with Bill Maher coming to the defense of Kamala Harris. So I'm sure this is going to be hard-hitting journalism from the same woman who said this just days prior. Watch.
Set of questions. It's not too much to ask Kamala, say, are you for a Palestinian state if Hamas is going to run that state?
Okay.
Yes or no?
And let's say you don't like her answer. Are you going to vote for Donald Trump?
No, I'm not.
Kamala
I just said I'm not going to vote for her.
She's not running for perfect. She's running against Trump. We have two choices. And so there are some things you might not know her answer to. And in 2024, unlike 2016 for a lot of the American people, we know exactly what Trump will do, who he is, and the kind of threat he is to democracy.
I don't know.
So it's unclear to me how there could be an informed.
The problem that a lot of people have with Kamala is we don't know her answer to anything, okay?
But you know his answer to everything.
And that's why I would never vote for him, and people should vote for him. But people also are expected to have some idea of what the program is of the person you're supposed to vote for. You're just not supposed to say, well, you have to vote for Y because X is this, that, and the other.
She's not running for perfect. Her answers don't even matter. That's the hard-hitting journalist that you're going to see interviewing Kamala Harris tonight.
Okay.
I'm sure it's
like
going to be.
Tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow is a day that's not here yet, okay? Obviously, they were never going to let her sit down with even a Jake Tapper, who at one point in his career was a respectable journalist. Wow. They're not going to let her sit down with somebody who's going to poke her or prod her. Mm-hmm. They go after these no-names like her. I mean, you got to dig pretty deep into the, quote, journalistic repertoire to find, what's her first name? Stephanie Ruhle? Never heard of her. Never heard of her.
Well, there might be like 5 people on MSNBC who watch her.
Maybe. I mean, I who's on MSNBC?
That's not counting.
Matt Al and Joy Reid.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 people I know on MSNBC. And
you wish you didn't.
And you know what's funny is I actually do listen to progressive liberal programming. Like if I listen to Urban View or I listen to Progress on Sirius XM.
Urban View?
Yes.
What is that?
The whole station.
Really?
Enlightening. There's a lot there. How much can we hate Donald Trump today?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I'll listen to that. I can take a little bit of it. But these people are unhinged. I mean, they're foaming at the mouth with their rhetoric. And she's one of these, obviously. Nobody's ever heard of her. So there was no way they were going to let Cammie sit down with somebody that was going to actually do some real journalism. Because, again, journalism is about objectivity. If at the end of the day you know where the journalist stands on something, that wasn't journalism at all. That was an opinion piece. So we know what she's going to get.
Right.
It's going to be another, Dana Bash.
Yeah.
Was it Dana Bash?
It was Dana Bash, yeah.
With Tim Walz?
Yes.
Tim Walz.
Hello, Tim Walz.
You ever seen Crazier Eyes Than His Wife?
They're pretty crazy.
Always the eyes.
Yeah, I was going to say, but that is typical for Democrat women. So I may have seen AOC's might be crazier. Oh, that's really creepy. Will you please stop? So we know the type of treatment that these people get on legacy media. I'm sure, just like the debate, maybe she'll, come armed with the questions in advance.
You know good and well.
Right.
She's got the talking points.
Right. But to talk about the point that was raised in that clip, which I apologize to the gentleman who was pushing back on MSNBC chick. I don't know who he is. But to his point, he's like, well, I don't know what Kamala's going to say. I don't know her policies. I don't know her platforms. Up until very recently, she had nothing on her website about any of the issues. I need to hear stuff from her. Well, I just would like to play for you guys Joe Biden, who was just recently on The View this week. I believe I read, was it today? I believe I read, tell me if I'm wrong, that he's the first sitting president to ever be on The View at that time. Which really, boy, speaks volumes, and none of it is good. And I want to play, this is not the first time that Joe Biden has said that Kamala and Joe are aligned in all that's happened and all that she will do. They've always been aligned. Watch.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
Oh, God.
I swear he's trying to sink her campaign because he's pissed.
You would think. But this again goes back to the whole thing of on day one. Okay, on day one.
Right.
On day one. You've had 3.5 years. And I saw somebody yesterday who posted on social media that said, well, if you think that she's had 3.5 years to do, what about the other guy who had 4 years to get it done? Yeah, the other guy got a lot done that was very positive. That you imagine what he could have done without all the persecution, without COVID, without all the nonsense that was thrown his way. The misrepresentation on the part of the media, he could have gotten a lot of things done. You guys stood in his way, literally stood in his way. Right. Kamala, according to Joe Biden, has been able to have access to and do everything that he was doing. So to say, well, the vice president doesn't have any real authority, bullshit. But he just said she did. So what is it?
Right, exactly. And it's not the first time that he has said that. And you'll recall at the time, Kamala very much believed in Joe Biden's ability to run things until they were ready to stage a coup and it was going to be her. And then all of a sudden she wants to introduce some new vision as if she hasn't been totally fine checkmarking and rubber stamping every single thing that has happened this entire presidency.
Well, think about it. Suddenly she became a pistol packing, intruder shooting, supporting fracking, border wall building. She became all of these things almost overnight. Okay. And so all of these things she was going to do, she's yet to state any real policy that she did not plagiarize from Donald Trump.
Right.
And none of those are really policies that matter in the grand scheme of things. So she's done nothing except come from a middle class family.
She claims.
I'm from a middle. Okay, listen. Okay, I'm from a middle.
Actually, let's hear from Kamala when we come back. So speaking of Kamala, she was just at the Economic Club of Pittsburgh, and I want to play what she had to say about moving on. Watch.
We just need to move past the failed policies that we have proven don't work.
I agree. That is so, we do need to move past all of the failed policies that you have proven don't work. Yes. Is she going to put on the MAGA hat soon?
In the words of Tim Walz, we can't afford 4 more years of this.
They're writing the ads for Donald Trump.
They really are.
It's incredible.
I'll be at the Looney Bin in Little Rock this weekend.
Great.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. That's the news. That's the news that matters.
Where can people go to find more news?
WatchChad.com.
Anything else you want to promote?
That's it.
Okay, WatchChad.com. I love you. Thanks.
Love you, baby.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.